Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben, your go-to podcast for all things green and growing. I'm Ben, your allotment guide, and here to help you cultivate your garden and your passion for plants. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, this podcast is for you. Each episode will dig into tips, tricks and techniques to make your garden and allotment thrive. From planting, sowing and growing, we will share all the tips and advice. We will also have regular episodes talking about what we have been up to on the allotment. So sit back, grab a brew and enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. It's a brand new week, it's Monday, and yes, we're back here with another podcast. If you didn't listen to yesterday's podcast, we're talking about everything that we did on the allotment on Saturday. We got quite a lot done, and yeah, I went back down to the allotment on Sunday and we got even more jobs ticked off down at the allotment. So obviously first thing I usually do when I get to the allotment is I feed the cat. The cat was enjoying the nice food that we leave it every single day. And we also fed the birds as well, made sure the birds have got all their bird seed. That is one job that I always do when I get down to the allotment. So what have we been doing on the plot today? Well, I've not done anything outside today because I actually got most of it done yesterday. So it's pretty much in good shape. So today we have been doing work inside the shed. We've been getting it prepared and ready for the mass makeover that we're going to be doing it. I've got an idea in my head of what I want to do. Whether it'll turn out like I want it to is another thing. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, fingers crossed it does. I've got a good idea of what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make a lot of time into doing this and make sure it's strong enough and it don't fall down on what I'm going to be doing. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. Keep your eyes peeled, because it might be a little surprise. I might show the after picture at the end. So today we have been sorting out some of my shelving, as I want to make them waterproof because it's all wooden shelving and rain does get through into my shed and it drips everywhere, and obviously when I'm watering my plants it goes onto the wood as well. So I've made all my shelving waterproof. We put plastic covers over them all, so then any water will just run straight off it, and yeah, that'll protect them and make them last years to come, which is what we want. We don't want to be spending any money down there if possible, even though I'm going to be spending money on doing my shed up, but that is to make it look good for videos, etc. So we got all them done. We sorted out any plants what were dying in there and chucked them away, and sorted out all my compost what were in the pots, because I always reuse the compost in other areas. I don't waste a single bit of compost. We also obviously watered all the plants, made sure they were all watered, because you only need to water them possibly once every couple of weeks now. They won't dry out as fast as what they would do when it's warmer. But to say it was 11 degrees at the allotment today, it was absolutely gorgeous. It was decent gardening weather for being down there today. So we did all that. Then I've been filming some content for you all, as obviously I've not been doing many YouTube videos, so I've filmed a couple of YouTube videos to put out this week. I've done a tour of my plot, so then you can all see how it's looking, how it's coming on, and see what I've done with my shelving. And yeah, it's obviously I do these podcasts, but sometimes it's better to have visuals and then you can see what I'm doing. So if you're not following my YouTube channel, do give it a follow and you will see them videos pop up. I've also been doing some promo for my podcast because I'm wanting more and more people to listen to it. Yesterday's podcast was one of the best days for listeners yesterday, so thank you to everybody that listened, and anyone that's new that's given us a follow, thank you for all the people that have followed us. If you've not followed us, do click the follow button, click the bell, and then you'll get notified of when the podcasts come up, which is every day at the moment. So we've been doing that. We've also been having fun with a drone. I bought a drone cheap off TikTok for about £12. I wasn't expecting anything. It was absolutely rubbish. It doesn't fly where you want it to fly. So yeah, that was money wasted. So we won't be getting any drone footage soon, that is for sure. But yeah, maybe we'll get a proper drone eventually and learn how to fly it. That's another thing. So yeah, hopefully we will have a look into that eventually and possibly do. So yeah, I've done all that. That's all done. I've worked out what I want to do on the plot next week. And that'll come in obviously on next Saturday's episode. So stay tuned for that. We won't spoil the surprise of all that. And then one thing where I was down at the allotment today, and it was funny really. Somebody shouted at me. They went, "Ben, are you there?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm here." And they went, "Do you know if somebody's been working on our plot?" And I'm like, "No," because I only go down there on a Saturday and Sunday now. I'm not there in week. And I went, "Why?" And they went, "Somebody's put a fence up." And I'm like, "Okay." And I went up, and they built them a fence at the front of the plot and a gate and everything. I went, "Well, they've not worked on the rest of your plot. They've just done a fence at front." And a little garden fairies come along and built them a fence at front of the plot. And went, "They can feel free and come and do mine if they want." And they were right over at Moon, bless them. They'd only mentioned it to somebody on site a bit ago, and I'm guessing it was this person because they always offer to do help and everything for anyone. And yeah, that really made the day. That it was like a little Christmas gift from them. They built them a nice fence, put a fence outside of the plot, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So I may have to hire this garden fairy to come and do some DIY for me. But yeah, definitely. It's good when people come together and help each other out, and that's what makes it so special about our allotment site is that everybody looks out for one another. It's a nice little community, and that's what you get with allotments. Sometimes you get too much politics in the way and stuff like that, but when it all works well, and everybody gets on nicely. So yeah, that is basically what we've got up to down at the plot today. Hopefully it's going to be another good weekend next weekend. If it stays this warm, I'll be happy throughout all December. Can you imagine it if it stays at 11 degrees throughout December and January? We're like, what? It's absolutely mind-blowing. But this is global warming for you. And I even, when I was doing my allotment tour video, I was going around my fruit trees and around my rhubarb. My fruit trees are coming into bud already. So they're waking up from the hibernation already, which they shouldn't be. They should be asleep at the moment. And also, my rhubarb's growing, which is another baffling thing. Rhubarb should be dormant at this time of year. It shouldn't be awake. It shouldn't be growing. It should be asleep. And at this rate, I'm going to be having rhubarb for my Christmas pudding. But yeah, it's all baffling. It'll soon die off again if we get another cold spell. But it certainly shouldn't be growing at this time of year. But all the seasons are absolutely bizarre. They certainly are. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a lot more done next weekend. We're going to be working in the shed possibly next weekend and getting stuff started on my design makeover. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do in there yet until I share what it is looking like. And knowing my DIY, it won't come out however I vision it in my head. It'll come out another totally different way, and it'll probably collapse before I build it properly. But we'll see. I may actually build something proper for once. I do love DIY. I'm just rubbish at it. That's the only issue. Who else is like that with DIY? Do you have trouble with doing DIY? Do you love doing it, but it's absolutely rubbish like me, and it falls down, it collapses, or it blows away? But yeah, I absolutely love it. There's not much left to do in the plot outside, that is for sure. I've got my beds to screw together and sort them out, and possibly sort out my paths a bit more. But there's certainly nothing that I actually need to do on my allotment whatsoever. So hopefully, I hope you've all had a good weekend. I hope you're all feeling energized and motivated for this week. I've got lots of plans for this week, and hopefully I've got some new plans for the new year, and hopefully we'll be sharing them all with you soon. But yeah, I'm building this podcast. I'm getting more people listen to it, and everybody seems to be loving it. So make sure you do come back for tomorrow's tips and advice video. It's going to be a good video, and yeah, I hope not video podcast. I hope you enjoy the podcast. But yes, we're going to have episodes every single day for this week. We're recording them all in advance so that they're all ready to drop this week for you all to listen to. And yeah, I hope that you all have a fantastic week. And remember to keep liking, sharing my posts whenever you see them. And feel free to share my podcast out to as many people as possible. So until next time, everyone, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with Ben, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Gardening with Ben. I hope you have found some useful tips and inspiration for your own gardening and allotment journey. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love for you to leave a review and share the podcast with fellow gardening enthusiasts. Your support helps us grow this community and continue bringing you great content. You can also follow us on social media on every platform called Gardening with Ben for daily gardening tips and updates. Happy gardening, and until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with Ben.